We're watching a very high-class player.
This is when you know AB de Villiers is at his best.
Good morning from sunny South Africa. It's a beautiful Friday morning and we are on 360 Live. Thanks for joining us. Before I start, as always, post your questions. I'm going to be covering a lot of questions and answering a lot of questions. I am rubbing my face because I'm all sweaty. I'm red in the face because I've been running around on I still don't know how to pronounce it, paddle court. It's a new game that was obviously started a long time ago, but only started in South Africa in the last year or two. It's like a mini tennis game combined with a bit of squash, just an amazing sport. If you haven't tried it before, please go try it. In fact, when I was in Bombay last week, I played a bit of golf at a place called Wellington Sports Grounds, or I'm not exactly sure if it's golf course or sports club. Anyway, it's in the middle of Mumbai. It's a beautiful piece of land, and I ended up playing a round of golf there, only 9 holes with some members of the ICC team and also some guests. Long story short, I saw some of those padel courts there. I'm saying padel, it feels so weird, even though my mind tells me it's paddle, it's padel. I'm pretty sure you guys can actually give me the right pronunciation for that. So if you are in Bombay, I know there are some courts at the Wellington Sports Grounds. Go try it out. It's a fantastic game, and I absolutely love playing it. My 3 friends, I played with one of my mates against 2 others. They made us run around quite a bit. So I am absolutely exhausted after a very busy week. I got back from India on Monday, and I've been all focused on fitness and health conscious. I've been having a health conscious kind of week, to summarize it in that way. I've been eating very well. I feel fresh. I'm ready for the weekend because guess what? Tomorrow is my daughter's 3rd birthday. She's turning 3, and we're very excited. It's all set up. I still need to do a bit of work in the garage. We bought a big kitchen that I've got to assemble and get together. It's a little bit more complicated than I was hoping for. So my Friday will consist of 2 swimming galas with both my sons. One is now in an hour's time, so I have to leave you guys in 40 minutes from now. The other one is this afternoon when I get back. I'm building a kitchen. So wish me well. Subscribe to the channel, people. Hit the bell notification. It's great to have you all here. We're going to be covering a lot of things today. There's a big game as well. South Africa playing Afghanistan. And there's the points table. India right on the top of the points table. They have been the best team in this tournament. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Are they going to win the World Cup? We can't tell. Sport's a funny old thing. As Zaya Khan always used to tell me, it's a funny old game, AB. It's a funny old game. You win 10 in a row and out of nowhere you play the worst game of your life. That's just sport. I'm not saying it's going to happen to India. They have been the best team. And if you look on paper, they should win this World Cup. But it's a knockout. It's knockout stages we're moving into. We're not there yet. But let's talk a little bit about those highlighted teams. New Zealand, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Only one can qualify. The hot favorites there in New Zealand, they look like a very dangerous unit at the moment, even though they only won 5 out of 9 games. They are like the dark horses of this tournament. And it looks like if they do qualify, that they will play India in that knockout stages. And I think India will be a little bit nervous playing New Zealand. Very, very tricky team to play against. Ask me. I've been on the losing end in knockout games against them in 2011 and 2015 in a quarterfinals, 2011 of the World Cup in Bangladesh, and also in Auckland Park in that semi-finals in 2015. And I feel emotional when I talk about that one because it still feels so fresh, It takes time to get over these things. I am over it, but it still hurts to this day. But what a great privilege just to have been a part of World Cups. But there's your points table, people. And then also, very important to mention, the top 8 teams will qualify for the Champions Trophy in 2025. So England have done themselves a favour by playing a good game of cricket against the Netherlands. All of a sudden, they are in the top 8. But anything can still happen at that bottom end. Netherlands playing India, so it's unlikely they'll win, but you never know. They need a win there. And Sri Lanka can still qualify if Bangladesh lose by a big margin. I think they're playing Australia, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, if they lose by a big margin there, they'll drop out of the top 8. which will be devastating. They've worked so hard to get where they're now. But yeah, top 4, we're getting there. It's close now. It seems like India will be playing New Zealand at the Wankhede Stadium, South Africa, Australia at Kolkata, the way things stand at the moment. Very exciting. We watched that game. I was there for India, South Africa. In Kolkata, the wicket turned. It was a very important toss to win. But I do feel generally South Africa have the upper hand there. Turning wicket. If you look at the history of South Africa against Australia, turning wickets, South Africa tend to win. I know Zampa's there. Maxi's been batting well. He's bowling well as well. But generally, Australian batters don't play spin as well as the South Africans do. We have Heinrich Klaasen in there. He's possibly the best player of spin in the world at the moment, even though he got out to Jadeja in Kolkata. But there you see at the bottom there, India still to be confirmed against who knows. I think it's New Zealand in that semis, and then South Africa, Australia. It's going to be a cracking week of World Cup cricket. And I'm still sticking to what I've been saying, guys. I still feel South Africa, India in that final, but let's see what happens. It's all to play for. There you see match preview coming up. South Africa playing Afghanistan in an hour from now, a little bit less than an hour, 54 minutes. And then for Pakistan to reach the semis, they need to win by 287 runs or 288 runs. If they bat first, if they bowl first, Pakistan need to chase the target within 284 deliveries. Goodness me. That's pretty tough. Let's see what happens there. Is that right? 284 deliveries. That doesn't sound right. We'll just reassess that and make sure that is accurate. But at the end of the day, Pakistan need to win by a big margin. We all know that. And if you watch the feed, so just quickly on my private chat, so that's within 3 overs, 284 deliveries to spare. So basically what you guys are telling me is Pakistan cannot qualify then. I mean, no one's going to win after 3 overs in the 50-over match. Anyway, unless the other team does not arrive, we'll see what happens. The commentators in the live feed will cover that. I think they have the live feed going on there in India, and it's all to play for. Anyway, Pakistan will have to bat first, I think, and do something incredible in that second innings. Please post your questions, people. You see there at the bottom. I'll be covering as many as I can. I'm still sweating, still out of breath a little bit, but my mind feels fresh, and it's amazing. That's why I'm yapping on like that. I'm saying so many things, and it's because that's a lot of oxygen in my brain at the moment. We saw with Maxwell, very interestingly, a lot of people have come to me in this week and asked me, how did Glenn Maxwell do it while cramping? He was done and dusted. And I said, yes, I have been there before. The minute you start cramping, it is not ideal. But can you imagine the amount of blood that's been pumping through your veins and through your brains to keep everything going? So in other words, everything slows down. You see the ball like this. It is in slow motion. I promise you, it's the best time to bat. You don't want to get out. You don't want to go off the field. And that's why Maxwell stayed on there like the Undertaker, flat on the ground. He took his minute off. And when he came back up, he was like, let's go. And it literally looked like the guys were bowling under armors to him. It's incredible to be in that zone. You don't need foot movement. You get away with everything because that is what you call the ultimate zone. Yes, they might have lost out on a few singles, but did they need it? No, they didn't. They knew the run rate was not going to be an issue. That just needed someone like a Maxwell to bat through the innings. I've had a couple of those innings in my life. Not as good as that. I've never come close to scoring a double 100 in the chasing scenario. That is what dreams are made of. I think Glenn Maxi in his wildest dreams never thought he would be in a position like that. And that's actually the trick of it all. How often do a middle order batter batting at 4, 5, 6 get an opportunity like that where the team's like 5 or 6 down? You actually have nothing to lose if you think about it. So Maxi just went like, assessing what's going on here around me, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to just go after this little white ball. He got a bit lucky with that drop catch, with that LBW, he referred it, great referral, and then he just kept going. He was in that positive mindset, and it shows you in life, in cricket, and in sport, if you take the positive option more often than not, you're going to come out on top, and you're going to do magical things out there, and that's exactly what Glenn Maxwell did. What an incredible knock. Top 5 best ODI knocks in the history of the game, I would say. The reason why, and I mentioned it in the show as well, why I say it's not the best of all time is because he had a few chances. I always like to look at someone who plays an extraordinary knock, preferably in a chasing scenario because there's a bit more pressure, and also not making a mistake at the same time. No drop catches, no LBW stuff, just pure excellence from start to finish. I know Sachin Tendulkar had quite a few knocks like that. I've seen Virat do that before in chasing scenarios, in test matches very often, but we're talking ODIs now. I get it. Well played, Maxi. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm very happy for him. What an incredible knock. I think we'll forever remember that one. Alrighty, keep posting your questions as South Africa and Afghanistan start in 44 minutes. Very exciting. There's the first question at the bottom. Terence, thank you very much for posting that. Sir, what do you think SA should do to improve their chasing? There's not much you can do now. There's no more time for training and to work it out in nets and in meetings. It's now a matter of the batting unit sticking together and saying, guys, it's time to shine. Look, I will come up for him in Kolkata. It was a very important toss to win. We were all hoping for a bit of dew to come around in the second innings. It didn't. It got slower and it started turning even more. So it was one of those. It's a rough one. You take it on the chin. You say, well played, India. You were the better team on the day, and you move on. But there are some other scenarios where South Africa haven't been chasing well. And I think Glenn Maxwell in Australia is the perfect example. There's more time in a chasing scenario than you think. Batters tend to panic quite early. So I would say chasing for South Africa, keep setting that foundation. Forget about the run rate. We've seen in India, if you have a base at the back end, even if it's with someone like a Pat Cummins, who just block out a whole over, and you can catch it up with someone like Maxi at the other end. So for South Africa, if we find ourselves under pressure, don't panic. Keep building that foundation. It takes one partnership to turn the pressure around and to apply that pressure on the opposition. And then the opposition start doing funny things. We saw Rashid Khan starting to panic, and the whole Afghanistan team started having a go at each other. They weren't that friendly, bubbly Afghanistan team we've been seeing the whole tournament in that game, and that's what you call pressure. The minute someone expects you to do something or to win a game, to close it down, to finish it off, you start getting a bit tight, you start overthinking things, and you start making mistakes like that drop catch, because they knew if Glenn Maxwell batted through on that night that he's going to win the game. He ultimately ended up doing that. So unfortunate for Afghanistan, but that would be my advice to South Africa. Keep building your foundation, stay in the game, stay in the battle. That's what Virat Kohli also does well in chasing scenarios. Thanks, Terence. Moving on to the next one then. Is this the best SA team in a World Cup ever? In my honest opinion, no. It's maybe the best chance we've had in a very long time. Look, on paper, it's very difficult to compare. It's almost different generations, you know. A lot of those guys that played in 2015, for instance, in my time, not my time, when I was still playing, in 2011, 2007, those are all World Cups I took part in. Every team is different. A lot of those players from 2015, well, not a lot. There's almost no one left there except for Quinton de Kock, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And no, Kagiso Rabada wasn't even there. But there's the squad. On paper, definitely not bad. It's not the best squad in the World Cup either. I think the Indian squad's better, and you can argue that some of the other squads are as good as this one. Do they have something special, this Protea team? Absolutely. For them to make the knockouts against all the odds, flying under radar, no one giving them a chance, they have performed exceptionally well. They've shut a lot of people up because there was a lot of chit-chat about how South Africa is losing their quality and they're never going to last and they can't play quality cricket anymore. I read all those headlines. Those journalists have disappeared, and those happy typists on X and on Twitter have disappeared all of a sudden. South Africa find themselves in another semi-final of a World Cup. And yes, we haven't won one yet. It'll be the first time that South Africa will make it to a final of a World Cup. And I have a funny feeling they're going to do it. This team have got something that we all forget about, and that's heart, fighting spirit, never say die attitude. And I think they're going to play the pressure situations well over in the semi-finals, and then we'll talk about the finals once we get there. So yes, Shuf, thank you very much. I don't think it's difficult to say what's the best team ever, what not. How do you compare someone like a Sachin Tendulkar to a Virat Kohli? You can't. I see a lot of people are throwing their stats next to each other. It's a different generation, people. You're comparing Sachin to Virat, where in Sachin's era, 250 in an ODI was amazing. If you got 280, you were like, wow. Now you get 400, and people are thinking, are Pakistan going to chase us down against New Zealand? New Zealand got 400, Pakistan 200 for one, well on the way to chase down 400. So how can you compare Virat Kohli to Sachin? You just can't. How can you compare the 2015 SA squad to the 2023 SA squad? You can't. So that's the long and the short. I think our team is good enough to win the World Cup, and that's what matters most. Can we play the big situation? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I back the boys. Thanks, Shiv. Moving on to the next one. I'm just about to cool off a bit. I had a very intense padel session. It's mini tennis kind of game this morning, and still a bit sweaty. I'll take a sip of water and just take a bit of a break. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me on 360 Live this morning. And there's the next question. I'll just get to it in 1 second. And I want to briefly touch on my week I spent in India. It was simply incredible. I love going there. I only spent time in Bombay to start off with, and then I went over to Kolkata to watch that India-South Africa game. My time in Bombay was very fruitful. I met up with a lot of people, had some partnership meetings that I attended to, but most importantly, and I covered that in the 360 show that was released not long ago. If you want to go and check it out, I teamed up with a Make a Difference organization. Again, we went to, I can't remember how to pronounce it. My team will have to help me in the private chat. But we took a boat ride from the Gate of India over to Bombay Inland, or whatever you call it. What an incredible experience. And that's where I saw the plans of us building homes together for homeless people, just to give them a kickstart. And I feel it's a very sustainable way of helping out people. And that's what I love about Make a Difference charity or organization. They think a little bit ahead. It's not like just helping people and then you disappear. You give someone a home and you teach them how to grow plants and vegetables. And it's a sustainable way of doing good in this world. So there's the name Alibau. I don't know how to pronounce it. It was just across the water from the Gate of India. Took a boat ride for about 15, 20 minutes. And then we got on the back of a car and drove for another 20 minutes to get to the small little farm, rural area where we are building a home or homes for homeless people. So I'm part of that. If you want to join, go check it out. Make a Difference organization. Volunteer, come help me out. I'm going to get my hands dirty with this thing. And the thing was called the Good Karma Farm. That's the farm, its name. So go check it out, guys. We've got a lot of plans coming up in the future, and I want to share it with you people. So I get nothing from it except for a lot of joy in my heart. And I hope you guys can jump on board and help me do a bit of good in this world, especially in India, because ultimately India changed my life and I want to give back there. I'd also do some things in South Africa, and I always invite people to join me here. I'm very much education-based over in South Africa, and in India it's more to do with this, building homes. And then I have a very, very nice idea that I'm not going to share here. I want to get it off the ground first, but it's going to involve a lot of you guys. So I will share that with you in due course. Still doing my research, and I'm hoping to get some great partnerships. But we'll get there once I get the foundation in place, and I can't wait for that. All right, let's pop up the question. That's enough of that. Go check out Make a Difference on Instagram, and if you want to Google it, it's a fantastic cause. Summer, hey AB, do you have any involvement with the current squad? Have you interacted with them while you were there? Difficult to answer that. Not easy. I have not been approached by them at all. There's no hard feelings whatsoever. It's a young coach, I know him very well, called Rob Walter. They pulled in someone called JP Duminy, a very dear friend of mine that played with me for many years. And I totally get it. It's a World Cup. There's a lot happening. And Rob could have gone and called from Graeme Smith, Jacques Ellis-Boucher, Ntini, myself, the whole, where do you draw the line? That's ultimately what it comes down to. I feel they have enough experience in the team, Quinton de Kock, Klaassen, Rabada, JP Duminius, and the coaching staff. We've played a lot of cricket in India, a lot of international cricket. What they do know is they've got my backing. I saw them in Kolkata. I gave everyone a hug. It was so good to see the guys. And I'm so incredibly proud to be associated with this team, with any South African team. We're a very emotional country. We play with our hearts. We are hearts on our sleeves. And you'll see that with the South Africans in the knockout stage as well. Let's just get over today first and play a good game of cricket today against Afghanistan. But you'll see they'll never give up. They're emotional. They play with their hearts. They take games as far as they can. And when they do lose, it's really like a big blow to them. That's how we are as South Africans. And I'm very proud of these guys. And against all the odds, as I said, they've made it to a semi-finals of another World Cup. So holding thumbs, and I'm right behind the boys, and I hope they go all the way. But coming back to your question, I'm not involved, except for talking to one or two players individually. I'm not going to mention names. Let me mention a few names. Rabada, Klaasen, those two stand out. I've been talking a lot to them, maybe a bit of with Miller. Bavuma, I've shared everything with in the past. I haven't spoken to him recently about batting. But with Heinrich Klaasen and Kagiso Rabada, we've been having in-depth discussions about their games personally. So that's nice, always nice when someone knocks on your door and says, listen, what have you learned? What worked for you there on that ground? What didn't work for you? What should I look out for? What do you see on the television screen? It's always nice to bounce ideas of someone who is withdrawn from the situation, always almost looking from the outside in. So I appreciate that, and I absolutely love to be involved with some of the players. And I hope the boys do well. All right, moving on to the next one then. And we have about, I'm going to call 18, 19 minutes left. So keep posting your questions. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Hit that bell notification. We're going to be having a lot of fun in the future. The 360 show and 360 live are going nowhere. So please subscribe, join in with this family, and there's a lot of plans that's on the plate that I can't wait to share with you guys. Sarvesh, Markram can be a remarkable opener as he can maximize the power play along with the cock, but Buma is more defensive. Your thoughts? Temba is our captain, guys. He's going nowhere. He's made some incredible leadership calls in the last while. He performs when it matters most for South Africa, and we do need someone who's a bit more solid up front. We know Quinton de Kock, how he plays. He doesn't leave any stone unturned, and I love the way he plays. But I would say you don't need two attacking players up front. You need guys to take turns. And Temba have showed that he can go more than a runner ball if he wants to. But when Quinny's got a flying start, all we need from Temba is just to hang in there. Just get that shine off the new ball, set it up for the whole batting order, And sometimes Quinny will play that role. When Temba's got a flyer, Quinny will understand, you know what? Let's just try and go to run a ball. There's no need to try and pick things up here for six and go crazy. They are experienced players. They're experienced campaigners. They'll know how to play every situation that they're confronted with. So I back the boys. I like that opening partnership. We need Markram in that middle order to keep things together. There's Rassie van der Dussen at number 3, who's similar to Temba. He checks things out. He lays that foundation. And I promise you guys, when Temba and Rassie are playing well, those are the knocks or the innings where we get 350 plus. So we need either Rassie or Temba to set it up for the team, because then it's fireworks at the end. I mean, the bowling attacks have got absolutely nowhere to go the last 20 to 15 overs. Just think about it. So 50 overs is the closest format to Test cricket. You need to respect that. It's not all fireworks. You need to set it up and box smartly. There will be knocks where the wicket is really good up front and where it will get slower. Yes, then Temba will assess it and he will play accordingly. But more often than not, we need him or Rassie to lay the foundation. All right, Sarvesh, thank you very much. I've been wanting to say that for a while. I'm happy about that. The Lionheart, how crucial is it for Bavuma to finish on a high note in the final league game before South Africa faces Australia in the semi-final? Who should play in the final, Kutsia or Shamsi? Interesting. I guess who should play in the final, you mean the semi-finals? It's a very tough call. We're playing in Kolkata, so immediately I'm thinking Shamsi against Australia, who have not played spin very well in the last, 10 to 20 years. Captaining against them, I always thought, bring on a spinner. Imran Tahir was like their nemesis. I always picked like 3 or 4 batters in the lineup, and the minute they came in, I would say, Imi, it's your turn to shine. So from that perspective, I would say Shamsi is an absolute no-brainer, with Maharaj being in the form of his life and Markram that can bowl you a few overs. That's one area we came up short. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, and I'm almost nervous of mentioning it on here, is with Shamsi, he doesn't really have that undercutter. It's all overspin. So on a wicket like Kolkata that's really slow, we saw Shamsi hitting his normal lengths, but on that day it was too short. So a lot of the balls just popped up, and Rohit and Virat and Shubman Gill and Shreyas, they could all just rock back and just work him off the back foot. You saw him leaking a lot off the back foot. Now, do the Australian batters have that kind of skill? I'm not sure. But yeah, so I would urge Shamsi to go as full as possible. We need him to get his length half a meter, maybe 2 feet fuller than normal. Then he's a no-brainer. And then, yeah, it would be nice to get Bavuma in form. He's not batting badly, guys. He just needs to take his time, understand his role. Okay, it's always difficult when you look up to the scoreboard and you see someone like a de Kock on 40 of 22 balls, and you see your own name there, 11 of 18, and you go, I'm letting the team down. But Temba must just remind himself, this is my role today. Quinton is almost going at 200 strike rate. Let him do his thing. Let me play my game. If Temba and Rassie can have that kind of mindset of understanding the situation and understanding their own roles, I think it'll be perfect. So Thames is batting well. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He will have his knock where he gets a flyer, and he doesn't have to force it. So, yeah, I'm not worried about Temba at all. I think he's batting well. His technique has always been a big strength of his. He doesn't have to do anything different. All right, thanks, Lionheart. I hope that's answered your question. So what you talking with Virat on in SA versus India? ADS Gaming, thanks for that. Funny enough, I'm going to spill the beans. He asked me if I'm going to be joining RCB this season, this upcoming season. So I said, well, there's a new coaching staff there, and it's Andy Flower and co. And I haven't had the time to bug them, and I haven't heard from them either. So there's been no communication, and I don't mind. Once again, similar to the Proteas side, they don't owe me anything. And if they do knock on my door, I would love to share what I've learned and possibly work with some of the batters one-on-one. And I will be spending time in India with the IPL. I'll be joining the Viacom team again with on Geo Cinema. So if you are in India, you can stream the games live. I'll be joining forces again with Owen Morgan, Chris Gale, Scotty Styrus, Brett Lee, Graham Swan. We're a Robbie Utapa. There are plenty of guys. We had a lot of fun this season, and next year I will be there for a few weeks in the start of the tournament and a couple weeks in the knockouts again. So there will be time to join RCB if that opportunity comes around. I have told you guys before, I'm possibly personally not ready yet to join a team in full force, to put on the team kit again, to jump on the team bus, to join the team sessions, every single practice, every team meeting. I'm not there yet. But there's certainly enough energy to maybe behind the scenes join some of the batting unit, or to catch up with Virat, maybe have a chat to the team, tell them what I learned over the years. No harm can be done, I think, but let's see what happens. But that's what Virat asked me. I gave him a big bear hug, told him happy birthday, my bud. Good luck today. I didn't think that my good luck will push him to score 100 against my own team. But I'm very happy for him. As I've mentioned before, he's like my brother, and nothing could make me happier, even though it's against South Africa. It hurts so much. But when Virat scores 100, I can only be happy for him, considering everything we've gone through in our lives on and off the pitch. He's a wonderful person. So that was the chat. And then, he told me that I look fit. I'm not going to forget that. So I was like, I've been working hard. Sagnik, thank you very much. My super fan, thanks for that donation. Dear AB de Villiers, your incredible knocks for RCB have etched unforgettable moments in cricket history. Thank you for the magic you brought to the game, forever etched in the hearts of RCB fans. Thank you very much, and I love you guys too. I really appreciate the kind words. I miss my time with RCB. As I mentioned before, India changed my life, and RCB played a huge role in that as well. Not only from a financial point of view, but just the way I look at life. I mean, spending time in India is just so humbling. And for those of you listening who have not been in India before, you just have to do that while you're on this planet. You have to experience India, the passion they have for life, not just for cricket, for anything and everything. They're so welcoming, such a humble nation. That it really opens your eyes. It makes you appreciate life so much more when you spend time in India. And I've always enjoyed taking my family there. I can't wait to take my boys there again to join with Make a Difference. I want to show them what it's like to do good in the world and what it means, and how some people in the world are suffering, and some people don't have it as hard. And it's the responsibility of people that have it easier in life to share and to help people up on their feet. We can't help everyone, but it's our responsibility as human beings. Even if it's just small, people give someone a hug, put a smile on someone's faces. And that's what I learned in India, is to keep your feet on the ground, to look around you, to pick someone up on the day, and to make someone feel better, whether it's by helping them financially, building them a home, giving someone an ice cream, whatever you can afford on the day. Go do a bit of good. And yes, it's easy to say that. I don't do that every day. It's physically not possible and mentally not possible. I have a family as well. But every single morning I wake up, I have that in the back of my mind. Look for opportunities. Seize the day. Carpe diem. That's what carpe diem means to me, by the way. All right. Thank you very much, Sagnik, for that. Kumari and guys, we have another 9 minutes. 10 past 10 South African time. 13. That is 13:40 in India. I just quickly had to work that out. The 3.5 hour time difference. Always, I'm so used to working out, spending so much time in India the last 15 to 20 years of my life. Sir, which team do you like most other than South Africa? If not New Zealand, then why so? It's not New Zealand, it's actually India. You just heard me talk about India. New Zealand is probably a close third. I've always enjoyed the people of New Zealand. I feel they're very similar to South Africans, always very humble. Also very humble. I mean, great sportsmanship. They play the game hard. They're also physical like South Africans, very emotional like us. They also have that never say die kind of attitude. So I do relate with New Zealanders a lot. I recently saw Ross Taylor at an ICC event, and it just struck me again how such good people they are. They are really, really humble, very similar to us. They have appreciation for life and for sport and for other people. So I love that. And India is certainly a close second to South Africa. I love spending time there. I'm close to most of the team. I know them very well. I've played in the IPL with all of them. They have respected me over the years, and it's come very easy for me to respect them back and to show respect back. So India would be my second team. Right, Kumari, thank you very much for that. Anupam, let me just quickly go through this one. Sir, you have been a captain. How would you rate all the captains of this World Cup? I'm not going to go through all of them. I have spoken about Temba and what I feel, how underrated he has been in the South African setup. You see how calm he is while playing. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. He also doesn't smile a lot, so that would be a little piece of advice from me to him. I would like him to look a bit lighter and to look like he's enjoying it. I know it's not easy with all that pressure on you, but his biggest strength is that calmness he shows, that composure. He always seems to be in control. You see him putting his field out, the bowling changes he makes. It always feels to me like he's got time on his hands, and that's always a sign of a good leader. So he's been fantastic. Rohit, I've always rated highly. I think he's done an incredible job with the Mumbai Indians over the years, leading from the front, and he seems to be in that kind of form with the bat again. He's one of those captains similar to me. Captaincy comes a lot easier when individually you're playing well. I saw that with Siya Kolisi in the rugby, with his captaincy stint, especially in the World Cups. And by the way, for those of you who've forgotten, South Africa are the world champions in the rugby. Just reminding you all what a fantastic experience that was. I was in Paris for that. But coming back to that, Timber captains well when he's playing well as well. Same with Rowett. And Rowett seems to be in that kind of form at the moment. And then I'm not going to cover every single captain and go through all of them. There are too many to mention. But the leadership plays a big role in big pressure tournaments like World Cups. And there it is at the bottom. Afghanistan won the toss and they chose to bat first. Very interesting. Well, not surprising, but interesting because I think it'll be a fantastic test for South Africa. We are chasing against a very tricky team and a very tricky bowling attack. We saw how tricky they were against Australia. It took an incredible life career-defining knock from Glenn Maxwell to beat Afghanistan in a chasing scenario. Now South Africa will have that chance. So hopefully our bowlers do a good job, and then we'll go from there. All right. Just to my team, thanks for the private chat. I don't know what GFX is. It's live, so I love talking in loops a little bit in live sessions from time to time. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm not done yet, but I'm going to be taking, let's say, 2 more questions. As Afghanistan won the toss, they're deciding to bat first. I've stopped sweating, finally. My throat is dry, though, and I'll be going to my middle boys swim gala now in 30 minutes, 25 minutes from now. As South Africa starts, he will jump in the pool. And then later on, my eldest son will have a swim gala, 2 p.m. South African time, so I'll be rushing over there. And then tomorrow is my daughter's birthday. I'm just repeating that for those of you who missed that. So I have a busy Friday, a very busy Saturday. We need to set up this whole birthday party. A lot of people are coming to our house, a lot of my close friends. And that's what I love about living in South Africa. It's crazy. I hear from other countries that people don't really do that. In South Africa, we have this habit of going to other people's homes and celebrating weekends and sharing stories and just enjoying life, It's just very interesting. So if Afghanistan had chosen to chase, the equation would have been impossible. So Afghanistan had to bat first. They would have been eliminated immediately. So thank you very much, the backroom staff, for the amazing information you guys give me on the private chat. So that's the reason why Afghanistan batted first. But I also think it plays in their hands. They have a very good bowling attack. In T20s and ODIs, people tend to use their strengths in the second innings. Okay, so you want to put the opposition under pressure with what you're best at. So Afghanistan, I feel their strength has been the bowling. Yes, they've scored some runs and they've been better than what they have been in the past, but their big weapons are Noor Ahmed, Rashid Khan. Both those seamers are bowling incredibly well. You have Mohamed Nabi, very good bowling attack, very experienced, and South Africa have been struggling chasing. So all part of the plan. Playing 11 for Afghanistan then, before I sign off for today, guys. Gurba, Zadran, Ramad, Shahidi, Omar Zai, Nabi, here comes the big names, Nabi, Rashid, Ali Kil, Mujib, I forgot about Mujib, wow. Noor Ahmed and Naveen there. Incredible team. And then for South Africa, De Kock, Bavuma, Rassi, Markram, Klaasen, Miller, and Dile Pechlukwaya is the surprise. Gerald Kutsia, also another surprise. Maharaj, Rabada, and Giri. So no Shamsi today. Very interesting times for South Africa. And then last question, guys. One more for the day. And Harsh, thank you very much, my super fan. Lots of heart. Thank you. Who is the player of the tournament for you? Whew. Fire. I don't know. It's tough to say. Glenn Maxwell made a good case recently. But I think most consistent, I would say it's either Quinton de Kock. Who's some of the other players? It's tough to say, guys. Rachin Ravindra from New Zealand. Quinny de Kock. Virat is right up there. But you know what? I'm going to go with Heinrich Klaasen. He didn't have a good game in Kolkata. There's also Mohamed Shami that played well. I just wanted to mention his name as well. Jadu is fire. He's incredible, both bat and ball. He hasn't had a lot of chances to bat this tournament, but we know what he's capable of. But I will go with Heinrich Klaasen, and I'm hoping my good friend Heinrich Klaasen will maintain that form against Afghanistan today in the semi-finals, in the final of the World Cup. And hopefully I will be there just to help the Protea team lift that very heavy trophy, you know. And thanks also, Venkat. Guys, thank you very much for joining me on 360 Live today. That was my player of the tournament, Heinrich Klaassen. Please subscribe to the channel. There's lots of plans in the future. We'll also be handing out signed bats. I signed a lot of 360 bats. You see that bat there in the background? It will be out there soon, but I'll also be signing. I've signed a lot of mini bats that look like that, and we'll be sending it to you guys in due course, to all the winners of the 360 show, the quiz. So keep taking part in that, guys. Join me on my socials, so follow me there on AB de Villiers 17 on X, Instagram, and also Facebook. And I will be joining you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend, and remember, Carpe Diem. Until next week.